Okay, what's up, you guys? My name's Nicole Pludre. I'm a person in long-term recovery. Shh, Rocky, hush. And I'm going to share with you guys from Prison to Purpose Part 3. So y'all come on in. I did parts 1 and 2 already, and they're uploaded on my YouTube channel. You can click the link in my bio to go to my YouTube channel, or just go to YouTube and type in Discovering Nicole. But where we left off, you guys, was I had just gotten out of prison, and I was paroling out to a sober living facility called Williamsburg. So come on in if you enjoy story times, okay? Come on in and hang out and listen while I tell you guys the stories from sober living, okay? So for those of you guys that don't know, I've been sober for almost 9 years. I'll have 9 years sober July 13th of this year. And I do utilize medication-assisted treatment, Suboxone. I'm about on a half to a quarter of a milligram, and I will be off of it in the next 2 years or so. Right now I am focusing on my physical health. I am down 25 pounds since November, basically since January, really, because when did I start Ozempic? I can't remember, December or January. But I'm down 25 pounds, and I also share my journey with that because I am also a recovering food addict. So let's get into this. So I had just paroled out. I did 6 months in the Arkansas Department of Corrections, and I had 6 more months on paper. So I was on parole. And I paroled out to a sober living facility in Little Rock, Arkansas. Now, you're probably wondering, why did I parole out to Little Rock, Arkansas when I'm from Hot Springs, Arkansas? Well, that's quite simple, my friends. My probation officer, when I called her from prison to tell her that to get approval to parole out to Hot Springs, to my mom and dad's house, my parole officer told me, "Oh, no, ma'am. You're not coming back to Garland County. You are banned from the county." What? Banned from the county? Yes, ma'am. You are banned from Garland County. You're not allowed to come back here until you're off parole. So basically, I couldn't go stay at my mom and dad's house. I had to find a sober living facility to live at. So while I was in prison, I was calling around, and my very good friend, Scott, he's gay, we met in treatment back in 2005, was like, "Hey, I'm staying at Williamsburg," which is centrally located in Little Rock, Arkansas, right off of University, across from the Catholic Boys School. He's like, "You should come and parole out to the sober living." And I was like, "You know what? That sounds perfect." He was like, "Yeah, it's right on University Avenue, right across the street from the mall. You could get a job at the mall. You could get a job at Kroger down on Markham. You could get a job anywhere. It's right there on University." So I was like, damn straight. So I called Williamsburg, got set up with parole there, and paroled out there. My mom and dad came to pick me up from prison, you guys, and I'll never forget it. They brought some clothes, and they didn't fit. When I tell you I cried, because I went from like 140 pounds to 210 pounds when I was locked up in prison. So I was super depressed and already really triggered to use drugs because I was fat. I had gained a lot of weight in prison. So when my mom and dad came pick me up, they had to take me to go buy clothes because none of the clothes they brought me fit. So they took me to, the store to get some clothes and a couple of things so I would have clothes to actually wear. Because I had nothing. When I paroled out from prison, I had nothing. I had no credit. My credit was fucked. Because when I was in active addiction, you guys, I basically bought everybody everything. I was the kind of drug addict that when I was high, I was in a good mood. We were going to go out to eat. We're going to go shopping. We're going to go on a shopping spree. If you're getting high with me, we're having a good time. We're living lavish, baby. Okay, if you're getting high with me, we're getting high and we ain't running out of drugs, right? We're going to be getting high all day, every day. And so I had hella credit card bills when I got out of prison. They were harassing my mom and dad while I was locked up, calling them every fucking day, trying to collect all this money that they thought I had, but I didn't have shit. So I was $75,000 in credit card debt when I got out of prison. So once I landed at Williamsburg, that's the first thing I started working on. My dad was like, this is what we're going to do. I'm going to front you the money to pay for your bankruptcy, and you're going to file bankruptcy, Chapter 13. And so I was like, okay. And so that's what I did. Best decision of my fucking life, because that got all that shit off my back. It got all the creditors to leave me alone. It paid off all the shit I owed. Okay. And so that's what I did first thing out the gate when I got to sober living. Now, once I got there, I started getting acclimated and I was meeting all the people that were there. And honey, I was already seeing that there were some cute boys there. And I had been locked up for almost a year. So I was like, hey, baby. Well, there was this one really cute boy named Trevor. This is how I basically, I didn't relapse, but you'll understand what I'm saying. So I was really serious about my sobriety. I had been there for a couple of months and I knew that I wasn't supposed to be fraternizing with the boys, but you know how it is. And so, but I was serious about staying sober. I went to meetings every day. I had a sponsor. I was working the 12 steps, all that good stuff. But I really liked this boy, Trevor. So we all decided we were going to take a weekend pass. And you could do that at the sober living. You could take weekend passes and go stay with your family. But you had to get it approved from your counselor. So me, Cricket, me, Ashley, Trevor, and this other boy, I cannot remember his name. I think it was Shane. We all got a weekend pass approved to go to our family's house. But instead of going to our family's houses, we all ended up in a hotel room that weekend together. I got off work because when I had gotten out of prison, you guys, I had a really good friend named Holly. Shout out to you, Holly, if you're watching this. She follows me here on social media, who got me a job working at Kroger. So I had already started making pretty good money and I had already gotten promoted at my job. And so I was working a good job. I told everybody, hey, I'll be there Friday night. I have to work, but I'll see you guys at the hotel room. Honey, when I got to the hotel room on that Friday night, Trevor greeted me at the door with a big, juicy, wet tongue kiss down my throat, tongue, right? I was like, oh my. But I went, and then all of a sudden, my tongue went numb. And then all of a sudden, my throat went numb. That fool had basically snorted a big old fat line of cocaine and then answered the door and French kissed me. And all that cocaine residue went in my mouth and down my throat. And like I told you guys, I was really serious about my sobriety. So when this happened, I freaked out. I started crying. What a fucking buzzkill I was. I was like, dude, I cannot be getting high. I can't relapse. I'm on parole. You know, and he was like, it's okay. You don't have to do anything. And I'm like, dude, you just put your tongue in my mouth and I'm tasting cocaine. My tongue is numb and my throat is numb. Like, you just got it in my mouth. What the fuck? You know? Well, he was reassuring me, it's okay, you're going to be fine. It was just a kid, you know, whatever. Right? So I was like, fine, I'll be fine. You're right. I'm not getting high with you guys. And I did not get high with him. You know, we hooked up that night. We were doing all this freaky deaky shit. And then when Sunday came, we all had to report back to the sober living. So we all report back to sober living, but all three of them had relapsed on cocaine, except for me. Well, that Monday morning, all of a sudden, one by one, we all start getting called down to our counselor's offices. Okay? First they call Trevor, and they call Shane, then they call Ashley, and then they call me. And I went down to my counselor's office and I told her exactly what happened and how I didn't do any she didn't believe me. She was like, do you expect me to believe that they were all getting high and you didn't get high with them? Yeah. Because, and this is how I've always been. If I did some bullshit, I would just say I did some bullshit. I'm not a liar. That's one thing about me, is I'm not a fucking liar. And so I was like, I didn't get high. I told her exactly what happened. I told her about the kiss. I told her about us having sex and him going down on me. I told her all about everything. My counselor's eyes were like, she's kicking everybody out, right? I'm on parole. I can't get kicked out. So I come back to my room and they all meet me in the hallway and I'm crying. I'm like, she doesn't believe that I didn't get high with y'all. She thinks I got high. When I tell you guys, all of them went to the counselor's office and they all told her, Nicole didn't get high. Nicole didn't get high. We promise you she didn't. And they were like, she was actually so upset and started crying whenever we told her that we had cocaine and right? And my counselor called me down to her office and she goes, I want you to know, in all the history of me being a counselor, I have never had clients vouch and do this for another client. She goes, I'm going to believe you. I'm going to believe you because, see, she drug tested me and I failed for cocaine. So that's another reason why she didn't believe me. But I was swearing to her. I was like, I swear on the life of my family, that I did not use. And I didn't want to use, And so she believed me. But the rest of them, they all had to go into treatment or else they were going to get kicked out. So they all go away to treatment for 30 days. And then they came back. And I was so grateful, you guys. When I tell you, I told them all, thank you so much. Thank you so much for being honest. Because whenever he greeted me at the door, he stuck his tongue down my throat. And he had just snorted a line. So all this cocaine, basically, he had drainage, went into my mouth. And so I tasted it 100%. And like I said, my tongue and my throat went numb and I was so upset, bro. I started crying my eyes out. I was so mad because, like I said, I wasn't trying to do drugs and I did not use. And so I was so grateful that they were honest and told the truth, because if I had gotten kicked out, my parole would have got revoked, So anyways, that happened and they all got out of treatment and they came back and they were telling me that they were so sorry and, but that was a lesson I learned when I was in sober living, you guys, that I needed to stay the fuck away from the boys because it was not in my best interest. You know what I mean? So from that day forward, I minded my own business. Well, halfway through my stay there, I had just gotten off paper, right? So I hit the 6-month mark and I had been sober for 6 months and my counselor came to me and she's like, listen, you're doing really good. We have these apartments next door that we think you would be the perfect candidate to move into them and have your own apartment. And I was like, what? She's like, yeah. You can move. We want you to move into one of the apartments. And when I tell you, I was so excited. I called my mom and dad. I was like, I'm moving on up to the east side. And I moved into my own little apartment, you guys. I was making good money, like I said, at Kroger. And I was staying sober. I was doing the right thing. I was just doing really, really good. So I got over there to the apartments and then probably maybe a month or so later. Hey, Angel, it doesn't say your comment didn't come through, honey. For some reason, it's blocking it out. But so I'm living over there at the apartments and my friend, Ashley, she moved in a couple of months later into her own apartment. So now my bestie is over there, right? My bestie's over there. We're both working. I think she's got a job waiting tables. I've got a job, like I said, managing the Kroger deli. We're both just doing really good. One night, she invites me over, and we always did this thing we called pasta nights, pasta Sundays, okay? And so we would go over to her house, and we would have pasta and grape juice like we were drinking wine and watch like our favorite movies. Well, this one night, she invited me over for pasta Sunday, and when I got there, she was shooting up Roxy's. Now, I had never shot up a Roxy before. I had taken them, but I had never shot up a Roxy. And against my better judgment, I did one too. And that is what started my relapse. Now, I had already, like I said, gotten off of parole, so I wasn't on probation or parole anymore. But I was off to the races, baby. Because once I started banging Roxy's, you guys, I became addicted to those suckers so fast. So fast. Like I did them every day, multiple times a day. I was spending my whole check on them. It took about 30 days for my counselor to like really become hip to what I was doing. I was missing meetings. I wasn't going to my group therapies. I wasn't coming to see her for my one-on-ones. Like, she knew some shit was going down. And I had just hired her daughter, okay? This is another thing. I had just given her daughter a job at my job. I was a hiring manager. And so she, like, there was that weird conflict of interest, right? So she shouldn't have been my counselor anymore, honestly. But anyways, that's neither here nor there. So I'm getting high. My counselor knows I'm getting high. She knows something's up, right? So she can't get a hold of me. She can't catch me at my apartment, right? She's tried to. So she sends word through her daughter, you know, because me and her daughter were really good friends. And she's like, you need to tell Nicole to get a hold of me. All right? Like, it's important. And that's when I knew. I knew right then. I was like, I told her daughter, I said, Brittany, I relapsed. I'm getting high. Your mom's going to kick me out. Like, I don't know what I'm going to do. And that's when Brittany was like, you can come stay with me. Bitch, when I tell you guys, I moved into my counselor's daughter's house quick, fast, and in a hurry, and started paying her $400 a month to live in her house. She gave me one of the spare bedrooms in her upstairs apartment. Super nice. And I told my counselor, you know, I relapsed. I'm moving out, and Brittany, I'm moving in with Brittany. And my counselor was just like, you're moving in with who? Yo daughter. I'm sure she was pissed as hell, but she didn't let me know she was pissed. She was just like, okay. Like, I think she was really sad because, like, I had been doing really, really good. Like I said, I had been doing really good, and I relapsed. And so it didn't take long for me to start fucking shit up in my life after that relapse. And, you know, I lived with Brittany for about 4 months, but it just wasn't a good fit because she was all the way out in North Little Rock. So I had to drive from North Little Rock to Little Rock every day to go to work. And so I needed to find like a closer option. And that's when I met Tara. Okay? Tara is the girl who called CPS on me in 2015. But this is way before that. So that's when I met Tara. And she was like, hey, you know, we can be roommates. You come live with me. But the catch was she didn't have like a bedroom for me to stay in. I just had to sleep on the fucking couch, bro. But that's what I did. I moved in with Tara. She was literally walking distance from my job. And I moved in with Tara, and me and Tara became like best friends and was smoking crack and meth together 24/7, 7 days a week. It was really, really bad. I was banging Roxy, smoking crack, and just fucking my shit up. One day at work, I got called into the office at Kroger, and they were like, we know that you are using substances and we need to take you in for a drug test. And I was like, no, I'm going to go to treatment. I need help. And I asked Kroger to please help me. And so Kroger was amazing. They gave me Family Medical Leave Act and helped me find treatment. And I entered into treatment, okay, for 30 days. When I came out of treatment, I hit the ground running and went right back to working. And I stayed sober for a couple months, but it was very short-lived because I was living with a drug addict who was smoking crack, right? So it was really hard for me to stay sober. So I ended up relapsing. I'll never forget it. I called my parents and I was like, I just can't stay sober. Like, I'm really struggling. And my parents offered to help me, you know, find treatment there in Hot Springs, because at this point I could go back to Hot Springs now because I wasn't on probation or parole anymore. But I didn't want to go back to Hot Springs. I didn't want to go back. All my friends from high school that I used drugs with were there. It was just too many bad memories and experiences. And so I was like, no, I'm going to try and, you know, sober up here in Little Rock. Maybe that just did not happen. It did not happen. And I struggled for the next couple of years. In 2012, I ended up meeting my husband. Sorry, y'all. And we were both struggling with addiction, you know. But my husband was so different than any man I had ever met, because he actually like had a good head on his shoulders. He went to college. He got his MBA. He was a smart guy. He just was struggling with substance use disorder. And my husband has a background in chronic pain. And so that's how his addiction started. It started because he had chronic pain. And he was actually, you know, really getting a prescription for opioids legitimately because he had chronic pain. And so when we met in 2012, we fell in love, but I ended up getting pregnant and having my son in 2014, which is my husband's son, Neil's son. And I tried so hard to get sober, you guys, but I failed miserably. You know, while I was pregnant, I was addicted. I ended up giving birth to my son under the influence. It was horrible. When I tell you guys, I think about it every single day of my life still to this day, and wish I could go back and change it every single day, because my son is literally my everything. But I can't change the past. All I can do is not repeat those same behaviors. And so that's why now I am sober, been sober for almost 9 years. I will never go back to drugs or alcohol. You couldn't pay me to go back to drugs and alcohol. Like, I really don't want that lifestyle for myself or for my family. You know, mistakes were made when I was younger, and I learned from them. And I think that's really the most important part. I gotta do my eyebrows and my mascara. Hey, Rocky. The most important part about life is, if you have a bad experience or you fuck up some shit, that's okay. Okay? As long as you make change and you try to do better, you know? My son being born is what changed my life. That's how I got sober. That's why I got sober, was because my son was born. He actually got taken away from me because Tara, my friend that I used to smoke crack with, she called CPS on me in 2015. And when she called CPS on me, that changed my life, and I got sober. And I've been sober ever since. And oh my God, you guys, guess what? Guess what? No, Ozempic makes you not crave anything. It doesn't even make you want to eat. It's amazing. I've lost 25 pounds. Guess what, you guys? Guess who commented on my video about Suboxone yesterday, you guys? Guess. Tara. Tara is sober now. She got sober on Suboxone. She literally commented on my video yesterday. So I DM'd her and I was like, you have no idea how many questions I get about you every day because of my story times, asking me if you ever got sober. And I always have to tell people I don't know. you know? Well, baby, you guys, update. Tara is sober and she is using Suboxone and doing fabulous. And yes, she is the person who called CPS on me. But you know what? I forgive her. I forgive her because she finally told me the truth and admitted it. And so I did forgive her. Because you know what? At the end of the day, it's actually what helped save my life. So I just wanted to share with you guys what happened at the Sober Living and then what happened afterward, because I was telling the story over the weekend, but it got cut off and I couldn't finish it. So I got to go into a meeting with my bosses. But if you guys want to watch parts 1 and 2, they're linked on my YouTube channel. I would love for you guys to go subscribe. It's called Discovering Nicole, and I'll see you guys later. All right. Bye guys.